Nothing better than a good cup of coffee on a Sunday morning, except if it were football season. So here we are with another Sunday without football. But there is good news with that. Because we had this Sunday without football, we can cross this one off the list. And that brings us 1 week closer to the NFL season. And the fortunate thing about this season is there's been tons to talk about. We've had the whole Tony Romo drama and everything else. We've had free agency of guys that we've been hoping to bring in and build a team. We've had guys retire and guys that have left and so on. So there's been lots to talk about. And that's going to continue right on through the draft, which I can't wait for myself. Now, today, the NFL owners get together. The Cowboys will be there, along with all the other 32 teams owners and stuff. And it's going to be an opportunity for the Cowboys to talk with the Texans as well as the Broncos and gauge what the real deal may be for Tony Romo. So we may finally see some movement sooner than later. I'm hoping that'll happen sooner than later. And it's not because I hate Tony Romo. The fact of the matter is, to me, every day that it waits to happen for him makes it that much harder for him to get used to the new team and learn the new system and so on. I mean, technically workouts don't start until after the draft, but you still get the playbook. You still start looking at it. You start meeting the other players. You start getting used to the facilities and things like that. So it's valuable time he's losing. And for a guy who's given up as much as he has and done as much as he has for the Dallas Cowboys, you really want to go ahead and do the right thing. But we'll see how that goes. But anyway, you guys have asked for it. So I am going to do the best I can with the time that I have to give it to you. Now, I told you I'm not into mock drafts because they're really meaningless. It's a whole lot of time for something that's just wasted. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on possible players that we can draft and guys that the Dallas Cowboys will be bringing in for workouts and that people they have interest with. And today, I'm going to start with Jordan Willis from K-State. It's interesting because what always happens with the good old combine is guys will shoot up and guys will shoot down. Well, Jordan Willis, nice sized guy. He's 6'4", 255 pounds. Might want to see him with a few more pounds on his frame for the NFL. 3-year starter, 113 tackles, 25 and a half sacks, and his sack numbers went up each year, including having 11 and a half this past year. Big Ten Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. So he's a nice guy. But what happened is at the combine. And sometimes the combine will make and break guys. And I always tell you guys, be careful about what you see at the combine because it's like the SATs. You go through, you do pre-SAT tests, you go ahead and do SAT courses, and you take the test. And I know a lot of people that get high scores on SATs but don't know shit. Well, that's what happens with the combine. Guys, as soon as they're finished with college, they start training for the test to make sure they can get that stance just right for doing the 40. You know, they practice that 3-cone drill and things like that. You know, they work on their vertical leap with doing lots of plyometrics and things like that, which makes them look fantastic at the combine. But the thing you have to realize is the 40 isn't that much important because very rarely guys are running 40 yards. 10 yards is more important, or actually 5 yards. That initial burst is more important than a 40 for a defensive lineman. Flat out, it's true. What are your first couple of steps are? Because you're not running 40 yards downfield to get a quarterback. With that said, his numbers were off the chart. 39-inch vertical leap. Dude can jump. Definitely can slam dunk. 4.5340. That's some speed. That's some real speed. At 255 pounds, that's fantastic. And his 3-cone, I think, was 6.83, somewhere around in there, so don't quote me on that. But definitely a guy who got your attention. With the 11 and a half sacks his senior year, you know, that's really looking good. He was originally projected as a second or third round pick, but because of his numbers at the combine, he's looking more like a first-round pick. The Cowboys definitely have interest in him, as well as a bunch of other teams. I know Tampa Bay's looked at him. I believe the Steelers have looked at him, as well as New England. So who knows where he'll go in the draft. But the good news is there's a lot of guys that are in the same kind of category, maybe not as fast, but a lot of good players. You don't see a dominant one, but you see a lot of good players that are in this range. Of course, Myles Garrett will be the number one, so I don't even think we need to focus on him. But after you get down through there, you got a lot of really good, talented guys that you'll wonder if they can put it together as an NFL pro. And that, of course, is a crapshoot because you never know how it's going to work out. So I've got a few clips here, a few highlights for you guys to check out, and we'll be focusing in on some more players. Man, I got to tell you, I could get excited with a guy like Jordan Willis on the team. The question will be is, how does the draft go ahead and pan out? But he's got all the tools in the toolbox there. You notice that jab move. That was that move I was telling you about. The only difference is he didn't rip. He took that step to the left. The offensive lineman came with him. He had enough speed to go right past him, left the offensive lineman grasping for air. Another move out there you saw him go ahead and fight upfield and get that shoulder. He takes that hand right into the shoulder pads and then spins back to the inside, getting the sack. So when you start seeing moves like that, combination moves in college, that bodes well for the NFL. Definitely the speed will be a bonus. I think he'll need to get a few more pounds on that frame, but I got to tell you, I could be excited about seeing him underneath Rod Martinelli, learning the craft and the trade a lot more. So friends, we're going to keep doing some of these. We'll try and see if we can do one of these a day and focus in on players as time permits for me. So be sure tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, we will be live streaming Eastern and also getting ready for the Benet Emery show. So get your thoughts, your questions, your ideas, and comments ready for the live stream. And as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. And if you haven't subscribed yet, show us some love by clicking on the picture of Sean Lee and Jobu. Have a great day, friends, and I'll see you here soon.